Hello everyone, Dave here, and welcome to another Warhammer 40K build. In this build, I am building the Plague Marines, the Death Guard, Nurgle's Chosen, those who just stumble and walk forward towards the enemy. I will be building all 7 models, painting them off screen, and of course, talking about the lore. Decay and corruption of the flesh are their secret joys, and they are abominations in the eyes of men. Plague Marines are those Chaos Space Marines who dedicated their lives and souls to the service of the Chaos God Nurgle. Within their corrupt and disgusting power armor, their bodies are bloated with disease, swollen with corruption, and rank with decay, even as they no longer are capable of feeling pain, the greatest mutual gift given to them by the Plague Lord. The first Plague Marines were warriors of the Death Guard Legion, trapped in the warp upon their starship when the brilliant destroyer plague struck their fleet. Mortarion and his legion offered themselves up to the service of the Lord of Decay. Their bodies became bloated and swollen with the corruption festering within them, but they no longer felt the agony of the warp pox and did not die from its horrific symptoms. Since then, many heretic Astartes have dedicated themselves to Nurgle, though few achieve the valued ranks of the Death Guard. Those who truly wish to join this most thotted of Creases must first swear loyalty to the Primarch Mortarion. Only then will Nurgle bestow upon them the corrupting age that created the Plague Marines. Outside of the Death Guard, a favoured few sorcerers of Nurgle know the secrets of the Plague Marines, and Abaddon of the Black Legion has won many of these spellcasters to his cause. In return for fealty and long services, these blight mages will bestow their pestilent gifts in the War Master of Chaos's name. Regardless of allegiance, all Plague Marines have disgusted, rotting bodies that stink of decay. Putrid slime that oozes from their many weapons scores corrosions their armor and burns their skin. But despite their horrific disfigurements, the Plague Marines are fierce warriors indeed. Their rotting brains are injured to the agony of bloody corruption, making them all but immune to the pain or debility caused by the weapons of the enemy. Not for nothing are these repugnant foot soldiers considered the most resilient of all Chaos Space Marines. As well as fighting at the behest of the Lords of Chaos, the Plague Marines dedicate their lives to spreading corruption and decay across the galaxy. The plague fleets of Nurgle that persistently spew from the Eye of Terror are captured by the Plague Marines, spreading Father Nurgle's warp-spawn contagions and pestilence across the myriad star system of the galaxy, forever spreading the death and decay that are the hallmarks of Nurgle's kingdom. The origins of the Plague Marines can be traced back to the early 31st millennium, during the opening days of the Horus Heresy. Intiris Glotor was the captain of the Death Guard Legion's Second Grand Company during the massacre of the traitor Legion's loyalists on Istvan III that initiated the heresy. Gregor was posted on the Imperial frigate Elistine to kill the loyalist captain Nathan Garrow and his 100-strong company of Death Guard Astartes. Gregor was instantly killed in a firefight on the gun decks of the Elistine after a stray bolt pistol shot released from the light ether virus within a virus form that had been intended to be used against the loyalist Astartes on Istvan III. After the successful escape of Elistine and the following trip through the warp, the body of Gloggar was reanimated by the Machinations of Nurgle as the first of the Plague Marines. Following a desperate battle, Gloggar's body was destroyed. After the Elistine made an emergency transition into real space, his soul banished to the warp, the Plague Lord eventually raised Gloggar as one of his demon princes. In 999.M41, Gloggar would return to haunt the Imperium during the Forces of Chaos assault upon Istvan V. The Plague Marines later appeared en masse at the start of the Horus Heresy. The Death Guard Legion had become claimed and trapped within the warp, where the violent Destroyer Plague, later known to the Imperium as Nurgle's Rot, attacked their bodies. For the Death Guard, there is nothing more terrifying than the plague that rendered their legendary resilience meaningless. These were warriors who were immune to the disease, contagions and toxins and pollutants that behead normal men. When the Death Guard endured was unimaginable, yet none suffered more than Matarian himself, and able to endure the suffering any longer. The Primarch and his legion offered themselves to the service of the Lord of Decay in return for their lives. The bodies became swollen with the corruption festering within them, but they did not feel the agony of the warpox, nor did they desire from its pathetic symptoms. When the Death Guard fleet emerged from the warp, they bore little resemblance to the proud Astartes who had entered. Their once gleaming grey armour and the proud heredity of the once imperial champions was no more. In their stead was a sticky paw of greenish hue. Each Astartes was now bloated grotesque, covered in pox marks and boils, scabs and pestilence spores. They bore the stink of corruption, as the very air around them was clotted with swarming flies. Even their weapons and war machines had been mutated by the energies of the warp, and now powered by the very sticky sorcery of chaos, glowing for lambent green energy and oozing generous pus. The Death Guard had become walking pestilent carriers. They had become Plague Marines.
So there they are, all built, painted, and ready to go. The Chaos Space Marines of Nurgle, the Death Guard Space Marines themselves, all looking rather horrendous. All with their poxes and spores and guns ready to tear forth into the foe. The disgustingly resilient on swamp bases as well. I think one of my personal favourites is this guy. The aspiring champion whose head is now that of a fly, wielding a mighty bane axe. Of course, followed by this chap with the bright launcher to take down those heavily armoured foes, showing the icon of Nurgle as well. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Until the next one, this is Dave. Death to the false emperor!